roll, baby. Welcome in. It is a Monday edition of East Coast Bias right here on the Ringer Gambling Show, of course, on the FanDuel Sports Network. The triple threat fired up for all the moving and shaking, the entire aftermath of Week 14. It's Jastremski here in New York, Joe House in Washington, D.C., Raheem the Dream Palmer in Las Vegas. We will have our mulligan. We will have our bet we can't wait to make for Week 15. Anthony Dabbundo will join us. But boys, out of the gate, it was a come-to-Jesus moment for your boy watching Sunday Night Football. We had the Chiefs and the Texans. We had some inexplicable coaching by Andy Reid. We had a dominant defensive performance by the Houston Texans, and I want to credit my guys, Joe House, man's best bet, all over Houston. Raheem Palmer, wise wager, all over the Texans. I also tailed the Houston Texans in the Ringer 107. It was a victory for all three of us. But how's the bigger picture grand takeaway I have in seeing what I saw from Houston? You acknowledge the fact they're here to stay. The Chiefs have a daunting road to go and get themselves into the postseason with the way the tiebreakers work out. Can't believe we're going to be watching a postseason potentially, buddy boy, where Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce have the same view that you and I have watching on our HD televisions. The Ringer Gambling Show is presented by FanDuel. FanDuel's got it all. Same game parlays, quick bets for jumping in live, and your way so you can build the bet that fits your parlay. Plus, don't miss out on holiday offers and surprises all month long. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/gamblers to get started. 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut.
Well, it is very much an uphill climb for this Chiefs team, but with the outcomes of yesterday, the way that Jacksonville handled its business, it's a bummer for Danny Dimes, what happened there. The way that Buffalo showed resilience against Cincinnati. I mean, this playoff situation in the AFC especially is tremendous. I will say this. I went on the Sunday Ringer pregame show and gave out the Texans as my favorite underdog play, and I talked about pouring dirt on the Chiefs. I will say I went into the FanDuel Sportsbook this morning and looked at their fortunes in terms of making the playoffs. Right now, you can get the Chiefs to make the playoffs at plus 370, and what you're really doing is taking a position on whether the Chiefs or the Chargers are going to make the playoffs in that 7th spot in the AFC because the Colts are out. So they play each other at 1 o'clock this coming Sunday, Week 15. The hits just keep on coming, Dre.
So basically, what you're telling me, House, you don't want to quit the Chiefs yet.
I'm not quite there, especially not at plus 370.
Yeah, I can't bet on the Chiefs at this point in time. You look at that game last night. I gave out the Texans as my wisest wager at plus 3.5. They got steamed all the way up to 5.5. I just don't know what's going on within the betting markets to where the Kansas City Chiefs continue to get steamed every single week. You go back against that game against the Denver Broncos. They were minus 3.5, get steamed up to 4.5 on the road. You go back to the game against the Colts. They were minus 3.5. They get steamed up to 4.5. So they get steamed every single week, and they just can't pull it off. And now it feels like you got Andy Reid making desperate coaching decisions. You're playing the modern day version of the 2000s Ravens, and you decide to go for it on 4th down, 4th and 1, 4th and 2 in your own territory when you're holding the Texans to 17 yards in the second half. So it's just like, I don't know what this Chiefs team is doing. And then you look at Travis Kelce. Here's Larry Holmes' status. Flavian's sick. He's getting old. He's dropped. Like, that's the second pass this year he's dropped, which turned into an interception. You go back to the Eagles game. He catches that pass, they probably win that game. So it just feels like this Chiefs team does not have it going. So me personally, they could lose next week against the Chargers, and this thing could be over. So I'm not willing to make any bets on the Chiefs at this point in time. It just feels like the magic is gone.
I think the magic is gone as well, at least as far as 2025 is concerned. Now, Raheem, speaking of magic, Houston Texans all of a sudden have some magic, buddy boy. And we talked about this on the Ringer Sunday pregame at the end of the show when House was signed off, maybe getting his setup ready for the 1 o'clock slate of football. I fired a bet on the Houston Texans to go and win the Super Bowl. And I know they have offensive shortcomings, and there's no guarantee they're going to go and win a division title, but that defense can flat out ball. I think it's the best defense in the sport. They have already had some signature defensive performances. Look at what they did to Josh Allen a couple of weeks ago on Thursday night. And my thought was, Raheem, if they go and beat the Chiefs, this number is going to plummet. It has plummeted. We have seen a market move. Yeah, I got the better of the number at 25-1, but I ask you, for somebody that is listening to us and watching us and is looking at the wide open nature within this AFC, do you still look at Houston as a team from a value standpoint to go and win the Super Bowl? Is this a bet you'd be willing to make right here, right now?
So I said I was probably going to be riding the Houston Texans for the rest of the year. But I have a problem with this number. I think there's better value to be had if you just roll it over in the postseason. Right now, the Jaguars are winning the division. So that means you would have to go and win multiple road games. So I would rather just ride the number within the postseason than play the 25-1 that you see right now. So, but I really like Houston. I think this is like, I compared them to the 2000s Ravens. They're holding teams to 16 points a game. So basically, this team goes out there and scores 20 to 24 points. They're probably going to win. I mean, you go back to the game against the Los Angeles Rams. They held the Rams, Matthew Stafford, explosive offense, to 14 points. And if Wale doesn't fumble at the 18, they win that game. All of their losses have been one-score games. So they're going to be in every single game. The defense is going to keep them in. If they can get anything from the offense, they're a legit Super Bowl contender.
So another big game, fellas, that we have to hit on here, Green Bay and Chicago. And House, I know we were on opposite ends of the spectrum here. I was very confident in the Green Bay Packers. I know you and Billy Boy had Chicago plus the 6.5. Despite the fact that Green Bay won and covered, Caleb Williams misses the play on 4th down, thought the Bears were a little too lackadaisical, didn't have enough pressure to go and score late in the game. House, I came away super impressed by the Bears. They were in it. They avoided the avalanche that you could have had playing at Lambeau Field in that environment against that defense. I have been skeptical of the Bears all year. That game, despite a loss and despite a non-cover, it really showed me a whole lot.
Yeah, it was validation. And by validation, I mean they went into Philadelphia the week before on Black Friday for an island game and showed the whole world that they had a rushing scheme and approach on offense that the league really hadn't seen and the general public hadn't really seen. And then they came on the road to this Green Bay team and they showed a varied offense. They didn't just commit purely to the run. The run was good again, but they put Caleb in situations where he could be successful. And I've been most impressed with really the apprenticeship of Caleb Williams under Ben Johnson. I don't think it's appropriate to think about Caleb as a second-year quarterback because the situation last year, his rookie year, was an abject disaster. It was clown after clown in charge of the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the scheme. This, with Ben Johnson, this is revealing what Caleb is capable of. And this Bears team, I think, Dream, is going to be legit.
Yeah, I think the Bears are building something special. I mean, you look at what they did yesterday in that second half. They had a 67% rushing success rate. They were like wearing that Packers defensive line down. And if it wasn't for the fact that they kept giving up explosives on defense, I mean, you look at that play where they had Josh Jacobs dead to right on 3rd down. They stop him there. They might have won that game, but they gave up a ton of explosives. Obviously, they haven't been healthy in the secondary. Kyler Gordon, he got injured in pregame warm-up, so they just haven't been able to keep guys on the field. But it's pretty clear that even though it might not manifest this year, what Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are building is something special, and I think they can take that forward into next year.
Boys, we are just getting warmed up. East Coast Bias, Ringer, Monday, gambling show. We got a Monday night football game that I can't wait to break down. The Eagles, they're reeling on offense. It's Panic City down I-95 in the city of brotherly love. Are the Eagles going to find an answer? Or are the Chargers going to solve the riddle of what's going on with Justin Herbert and his injury? We got so much more coming your way. The Mulligan, the picks we can't wait to make. 3 and Out with Dabbundo. East Coast Bias Boys. House, Raheem, JJ, we are just getting started. The plays for Monday Night Football. Winners, you want them. House, it might be a wise wager. You're going to have to wait and see. We're coming right back. The Ringer Gambling Show is brought to you by FanDuel. This NBA season on FanDuel, it's all about the boost because game days mean your chance to boost your bet and make every play pay off. That's right. All customers get a 25% SGP and parlay profit boost. So NBA Cup coming up Tuesday. How about a moneyline parlay? New York Knicks, Orlando Magic, they matched up Sunday at Madison Square Garden. I think they're going to match up in Vegas in the NBA Cup. Let's parlay the Magic. Let's parlay the Knicks to go and win their matchups on Tuesday. How about the sound of that? The games never stop, and with FanDuel, you've got more ways to make every win even bigger. So lock in your bets, boost your odds, and make every night count with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 plus and present in select states or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Jastremski, Joe House, Raheem Palmer, and to put a nice cherry on top of the Sunday for Week 14, it is a fantastic Monday Night Football game. The reeling Philadelphia Eagles, where it's DEFCON 5 in Anthony Dabbundo's City of Brotherly Love. Everybody out on Hurts, everybody out on the Eagle offense. WIP and the Philly special going crazy at the moment, as you can understand. I wish we had these problems in New York City, but be that as it may, the Eagles laying 2.5 against the Charger team that has a beat-up quarterback. Justin Herbert probably going to play. They're going to get Mr. Hampton back. And I know, Joe House, as this spread sits here at 2.5 and the total is at 41.5, you have the pressure on you. And the pressure is on you, good sir, because John Jastremski, Raheem Palmer, Cousin Sal, and yes, Anthony Dabbundo, all have hit their wise wager for Week 14. Does that heighten the stakes for you going into this Monday night game? Or, hey, pressure's a privilege. Let's go. What's the mentality now for Joe House with this Monday night game?
Well, since I'm sitting here at 9-4 atop the standings, why would I possibly feel any pressure? I'm glad for all of us. And here's the thing. Let's make sure that we say this early and often and as loudly as possible. Our wise wagers across the board, across this season, have been outstanding. This group on Sunday, if you want to win some money, watch the wise wagers on Sunday. Across the board, this group is 16, 17, 18 games above 500. That's how you cash in winning tickets. But look, this Eagles Chargers game continues to be very weird to me. I feel like the Eagles -2.5 is a very fair number if Justin Herbert was perfectly healthy. I think that it's still, even with the, Dream described the Houston offense as anemic. Man, I don't know what's an anemic minus Philadelphia Eagles offense over the last month. I think they have 60 points over 4 games. But even with that attribute, I think that the Eagles would be favored going into Los Angeles. So I don't understand why this number has sat still with Justin Herbert playing with one hand. He is going to have to play in shotgun, and there is no confirmation, no indication that the most important skill that he possesses, the thing that really for Los Angeles extends their drives and stuff, which is his running. He's been extraordinary running the football this season, Justin Herbert. He's been great at scrambling. The combination of scrambling rate and the EPA success when he scrambles for the Chargers is just excellent. But if he runs and he falls down the wrong way on that left hand, is he going to stay in the game? I mean, the dumbass Washington football team put Jaden Daniels back out there right in harm's way against Minnesota, and he fell down the wrong way on that elbow that was hurt before, and he had to come right out of the game. He shouldn't have been in the game in the first place, but this is the handicap for me. There is tremendous unknown around what are the circumstances under which this Chargers offense can be successful against the Eagles defense because of the injury to Herbert. And to me, that feels like value. So I'm laying the 2.5 with the Eagles.
All right, you're laying the 2.5 with the Eagles. Raheem, because I spend a lot of time with you on these gambling shows and we did the Ringer Sunday pregame, you usually are rather simpatico with my guy Joe House. You are not in this particular game. Make the case for the Chargers.
So I initially liked the Eagles. I thought Lane Johnson would be playing. I thought Jalen Carter would be playing. And it turns out they're not. And 11 games without Lane Johnson in the Sirianni era, the Eagles are 4-7 straight up and 3-7-1 against the spread. And the Chargers have been a very good home team this year. And the one thing I think I can take from the last Eagles game was the fact that the Bears rushed for 280 yards rushing last week. And that's scary because we know the Chargers want to run the ball. And they get Amari Hampton back. So I think he could have a big day. I'm leaning towards the Chargers on the money line. I just think this Eagles team, the offense, even when they're playing defenses that aren't particularly good. I mean, you look at the Bears. They gave up all those explosives last week. Well, the Eagles only managed to score 15 points last week. So if you could only score 15 points against the Bears and 16 points against the Lions, what does that say about your offense? And I think this Chargers defense is pretty good. I think they're a unit that I really respect. So I lean towards the Chargers on the money line, but I also would go under. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game. The fact that Justin Herbert has that hand injury, you just don't know what you're going to get from him. So I would go under here.
I think it's an underplay as well. It's a hold your nose under, considering the total is at 41.5. But the Eagles' offensive struggles have been well documented. And then there's the uncertainty here of what Justin Herbert is going to look like and how the Chargers and Roman and Harbaugh are going to be able to scheme up this game against Fangio, knowing that their quarterback is compromised. It is a tough game on Monday night. I felt a lot better about Philadelphia earlier in the week. But Joe House, from this particular person sitting here in a New York City studio, I am giving you the stamp of approval. I am also going to ride with the Philadelphia Eagles laying the 2.5 in this game. And I think the Vic Fangio difference is going to end up playing big in this game. The idea of Fangio having a lot of experience scheming up against Justin Herbert, going back to his days with the Denver Broncos as a head coach, then for 1 year was the Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator. He's seen him a bunch over these last few years. And I know Jalen Carter is not playing, but a lot of different bodies on that defensive line. And I don't trust the Charger offense to do enough in this game. So it's a tough game, tough spot. I like the Eagles. I also, Raheem Palmer, like the under at 41.5. Now, Joe House, if there are any other props that you'd like to get on board with for this Monday night affair in Southern California, anything stand out from a prop market?
It's counterintuitive, but I would play Herbert under on rushing yards. I mean, it was like 17.5, and normally that's an auto play because it's such an important part of their offense. But I can't imagine them. He's going to be running. He's only playing out of shotgun, and the Eagles' pressure should give him some room to run. But I wonder what they're saying inside the locker room as they plan for this. I don't think it makes a ton of sense for him to be out there running around because, this is every one of these games for the Chargers for the rest of the season. Those are playoff games. They really can't, lose many more games. They are when you sit down and look at the remaining schedules, a dogfight with the Chiefs. And that's why that Chiefs game next week, they're traveling to Kansas City. That's a de facto playoff game, but they just can't really risk Herbert, being out for any extended time. So I would play under his rushing yards.
Dream, you like anything in the prop market?
Give me Amari and Hampton over 43.5 rushing yards. And then I know this is counterintuitive with the under, but give me Amari and Hampton plus 185 anytime touchdown.
It's funny you mentioned anytime touchdowns. I'm going to give you two. You gave out Hampton. I'm going to look at the other Charger running back, who I still think is going to have a role in this game. Mr. Vidal is at plus 310 to score a touchdown. It's not that Amari and Hampton is not going to have a big role here. I expect double-digit carries, but the game plan for the Chargers is going to be run the ball, plus 310. I'll take a shot there. I think it's a good value play. And I can't believe I'm doing this considering what a lousy season he has had. But he did find the end zone last week. A.J. Brown, a little under 2-1 to go and score a touchdown. Maybe he gets going from a touchdown standpoint. So we'll take Brown at plus 180, Vidal at plus 310. And we're on the Eagles and we're on the under for this Monday night game. We got a lot more coming your way. Ringer Gambling Show with the East Coast Bias Boys. We'll find the mulligan, the pick that we regret from this past Sunday. Also, the bets we can't wait to make for week 15. They're coming your way right after this. East Coast Bias Boys, Monday, Ringer Gambling Show. John Jastremski, Joe House, and Raheem Palmer now. Fellas, it was a very profitable week 14 for the three of us. So it's tough to find a mulligan, right? I have two, though, that I want to throw into the air. One of them is a play. One of them is just a feeling of regret. The mulligan for me is actually throwing the Baltimore Ravens into a couple of teases and parlays. I knew they stunk. I watched the game on Thursday night where I bet the Cincinnati Bengals, and yet I said, I'm going to just throw Baltimore in a parlay here. I'm going to throw Baltimore in a tease here. Bad decision. Very, very bad decision. But my feeling of regret, and that's why I'm combining the two, House, watching the Bengals and the Bills, despite the fact that Cincinnati took care of business for me and covered 5.5, they didn't take care of business as far as the money line and man's best bet. I felt a feeling of sadness that we are not going to get to see Joe Burrow play in the month of January. And I'm going to be sitting there in January either watching this decrepit Steeler team that is a schlag and is miserable to watch, or I'm going to have to sit there and watch Baltimore, despite the fact that I don't think they're making the postseason with how tough their schedule may be. I mean, I'm watching Burrow, despite some of those hideous decisions that he made. I mean, he's hitting Gesicki, he's hitting Chase, he's hitting Higgins. And I'm like, can we get this guy in the postseason? Wouldn't it be so much more fun to sit there and watch Joe Burrow play in the postseason than these two jabroni teams, House?
JJ, of course the answer is yes. And this is why coming into the season, we were so critical of the stupid Cincinnati Bengals organization for not seriously addressing their offensive line and really not making any improvements at all to their defense. This is, them self-sabotaging the way they've done for, quite a bit of Joe Burrow's tenure there. But the more concerning thing to me, JJ, speaking of changing of the guard, we might not have Lamar Jackson. We might not have Patrick Mahomes. We put Burrows out. Like he can't make it. I mean, who are the quarterbacks that are going to show up and show out? I'm feeling pretty good about Matthew Stafford. Maybe this is the Jordan Love. We're going to ordain him over the stretch of playoffs. Of course, Drake May, will get his chance to shine. But Bo Nix, I mean, maybe Bryce Young. What are we going to do here, Dream?
I actually think it's time to buy in on the Buffalo Bills at plus 850 to win the Super Bowl. Their road favors against the Patriots this week. I'm not sure if I agree with the line, but the market is saying that they're better than the Patriots. And if that's the case, you basically have Josh Allen, who was probably the best quarterback in the AFC postseason. And look, I know I said Houston's the best team in the AFC. I do think it's the year of defense, but ultimately, when you have a superhuman quarterback, and he's going to be the only superhuman quarterback there because there's no Mahomes, Lamar is compromised, and he probably won't make the postseason. Burrow's not there. I think it's worth it to have a ticket on the Bills, even if I do think other teams are better overall. I think, obviously, Denver's better overall. I think Houston is better overall. I think you want a ticket on the Buffalo Bills. And if they win this week against the Patriots, that number is going to plummet. You're not going to see a better number. So
yeah, I think that's a great point, Raheem. And you think about Buffalo. We have all expressed concerns with the Bills as far as their inability to go down the field offensively, or the fact that their defense is not what it's been in years past. House, I don't think this is the best iteration of Buffalo with Allen and McDermott that we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years. But from a field perspective and from just an AFC look perspective, you could argue it might end up being their best chance of actually breaking through and getting themselves to a Super Bowl if the boogeyman is not going to be in the postseason.
I agree with this. This is the team for sure. As we enter the playoffs, I'll be looking to back them every which way. I already have a ticket on them to win the Super Bowl that's north of the plus 850. So
Same here.
Sit
Same
tight
here
for now.
And I hope it doesn't win, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. I hope one of my other tickets win. Let Houston win. Let the Rams win.
Green Bay is a pretty good
New
one.
York. I don't want you winning a Super Bowl. It's
Green
bitter.
Bay's not
it's
a
personal.
bad ticket.
Yeah.
Speaking of tickets, I do regret not having one, and this is my mulligan. Going into Week 12, when the Indianapolis Colts were traveling to the Kansas City Chiefs on the road, we looked at, and by we, I mean me, Simmons, that was a group of us, just eyeballing what the schedule looked like for the Indianapolis Colts from Week 12 through the end of the season. An absolute murderer's row. They were at Kansas City, lost. They were home against Houston, lost. They were at Jacksonville. Obviously, we know what happened to Danny Dimes, but the remainder of their schedule all counseled in favor of the idea of the Colts missing the playoffs. Going into that game against the Chiefs, you could have got that ticket at plus 780. Now you have to lay significant juice because they are on the outside looking in, and they don't have a quarterback solution. I heard there was some speculation around what's Joe Flacco up to right now, but
how are they going to do that? He's on Cincinnati's roster.
There was something about Cincinnati releasing him. I thought I heard,
well,
but
like
I have
doing
no
him a
idea.
favor, basically, so he
I
can
don't
go
know.
sign with the Colts.
I don't know. I haven't been on the Cincinnati Bengals Reddit yet, but we'll check it out. But in any event, the Colts look like they have, it's a bummer because injury to quarterback really is the thing that ruins a season. It's the thing that happened to the Bengals. I regret not having that ticket going into that Week 12 game.
Yeah, my regret is the Dallas Cowboys. I took them big on Thursday night. And the one thing that's so interesting, because obviously you guys know I have a model, but sometimes I go against my model. And if you look at recent trends, it looked like the Cowboys were the better team than the Detroit Lions. But my model still has the Detroit Lions power rated very highly. I think it still has them in the top 10, top 8, even top 5 or so, just based on their priors. They covered 70% of the games over the last 3 years since the Dan Campbell era started. So you look at that look-ahead line, it was Detroit minus 5.5. And then after Thanksgiving, that line went all the way down to 3. And then it took some game day steam and pushed it up to 3.5. I regret taking the Cowboys at plus 3 because I got ahead of the market. I thought I was getting ahead of the market, and it appears that the initial move, the initial line, the Lions minus 5.5 was the correct one, and I made an overreaction. So I regret that one. And then also the Cowboys. They're just 2-5 on the road. They haven't beaten a good team on the road all season long, and I totally disregarded that. So that's my mulligan.
Okay, boys. Week 15 in the NFL is going to be off the rails, especially on Sunday. It's not a great primetime card. The Sunday slates at 1 and 4 o'clock are absolutely top-notch. Raheem, have you made a bet for any of the look-ahead Week 15 lines that are now staring me in the face?
As of now, I'm not really crazy about anything, but what I'm looking at is definitely the Dolphins Steelers under 42. Like that stands out.
I like it. Gonna be a gross game in the Steel City, Raheem. I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's a game that I'm looking at. But I mean, it's like I'm not crazy about anything. I probably will find myself on the Atlanta Falcons this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's probably a game I'm going to find myself on.
Oh boy, Atlanta. I felt bad for people who had them against Seattle. Yikes. Raheem. Buddy of mine had that one. He was texting me a whole lot of nasty stuff that I'm not going to share on the show. He actually took him plus 7.
And then, honestly, the New Orleans Saints might be a good bet again. But
I like it. We're shucking. House, you want a shuck? We want a shuck. Yeah.
Sucky Shooky was up to it. And Cousin Sal's making fun of us for saying this and making fun of himself. He really showed us something, but he did. That we're seeing the maturation. It's a very nice situation to have Kellen Moore as your mentor, as your muse, as your guide, and it's a very low pressure situation for the Saints, so they can experiment. I mean, think about all of the skill players that have rotated through. This guy Neal comes out yesterday and has a very nice game. The more concerning outcome of that game was what's going on with this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. My God,
they got big problems. But I think we're on to something here with New Orleans, who could have won in Miami 2 weeks ago. They end up winning in Tampa Bay on Sunday. getting the 3 against Carolina. I have that one circled. And if I had to give you 2 other games, Green Bay is a small favorite at Denver. I am very bullish on what I'm seeing with the Green Bay Packers. That defense, Jordan Love is gaining more confidence. Bo Nix, enough said. I have been waiting for my opportunity to fade the Broncos. I have Anthony Dabbundo right now probably clapping and celebrating as I preach this into existence. The other game that I have an eye on, Cincinnati, who to me has a new lease on life, despite the fact that their season may be cooked. Joe Burrow at quarterback, they're a different team. The Ravens, I've hated what I've seen from Baltimore. They already beat them, plus 2.5. So that game, the Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints getting the 3. And then, of course, the Green Bay Packers laying a small number. We have a lot more coming your way with the East Coast Bias Boys on the Ringer Gambling Show. We're going to welcome in Anthony Dabbundo for a little 3 and out. We're also going to hit on the most insane end, maybe to a wager, that you could ever have. All that more. The boys, we are fired up, ready to go. Dabbundo in studio, ready to go. Let's rock and roll. We'll wrap it up with a bang right after this. Home stretch. Ringer Gambling Show with the East Coast Bias Boys. John Jastremski, Joe House, Raheem Palmer. And as you can see, in the flesh, fellas, wow. I have Anthony Dabbundo next to me here at 4 World Trade Center. What's up, Mr. Dabbundo?
It's a bittersweet morning. First time in the office. Very exciting. But
how sweet is that view, by the way?
It's a sweet view.
Is this badass as
Liberty,
it gets?
The World Trade Center, the One World Trade. However, the first thing you said to me when I walked in was you were sorry.
I did. It was like there was a death in the family. I did.
And I got a text from my cousin at like 1:08 with like the hands over the face frustration because Jones had thrown a pick. And then I got a skull about 15 minutes later from him when it
moving on to bets.
No, just moving on when Jones tore his Achilles, and it was just over. And I didn't have a lot of hope this season, so I wasn't excited going into the year. We talked about this preseason, and then I was just like, okay, I still don't have really expectations, but I just want to feel energized and feel the ride up the mountain, and then to like just get completely handicapped and fall straight down the mountain in week 14. Just when I was starting to believe there might be something special in this season, it sucks.
Yeah, it's a major bummer. I mean, you go and make the big trade for Sauce Gardner. You have this career renaissance season from Daniel Jones. And you want to tell me, okay, there was going to be a bitter ending at some point in January? Sure, but where the Colts were situated, the idea now of them just being completely dead as far as making the postseason, and I know record-wise they're not, but when you look at their schedule and you look at who is going to be their quarterback, I mean, AD, there's no path as far as I'm concerned.
It honestly goes beyond this now because a month ago, they pushed chips in. They went for the big move. They get Sauce Gardner in the room, and we begged as fans, Chris Ballard, please do something. Make a move, take a chance, take a risk. He is so risk averse. I was thinking about this on my drive up or my train ride up. What is it like? And I was thinking about my friend. Everybody has kind of like a more passive friend, right? He doesn't really want to go out. He doesn't want to ask the girl out. And you kind of have to nudge him and maybe push him. And then that's Chris Ballard. And as Chris Ballard finally makes this decision, and we're all excited about it, it immediately backfires. He gets rejected in every way imaginable. The quarterback gets hurt. The backup quarterback, who they drafted 2 years ago with a 4th pick, he's out with an injury that nobody really knows anything about. And now we're stuck here. Gardner's out. Jones is out. Richardson's out. Season's over. You have no draft picks. And everything that we hoped mid-season is now, it feels like the whole franchise is set back multiple years because Jones isn't going to be ready for week 1 of next year. So how do you sign the guy?
I have no idea what the Indianapolis Colts are going to do. And House, I know you don't want to gloat when it comes to the injury to Daniel Jones, but what was that number you could have had Indianapolis at to miss the postseason?
It was plus 780, but that was just looking at how hard the schedule was. I mean, we were imagining that the Colts would be healthy enough going down the stretch. It's just a brutal end of schedule, and the way that the AFC, how competitive it's been, the dogfight between the Colts, the Chiefs, the Chargers, at that bottom kind of rung for the 7 seed. It's competitive. So it was just like a flyer kind of bet, but the regret is missing out on that opportunity when things are all lined up. Obviously now, it's dead.
And Raheem, as far as the Colt games over the final 4 weeks of the year, I mean, just think about the drastic nature and the line changes. I mean, You probably are seeing it in this game against Seattle. Like when I was going through the Week 15 lines, it's like, holy smokes, now the Colts, who would have been, I don't know, what, like 4.5, 5.5 probably as dogs going into Seattle. Now you're going to be looking at 12-13 probably on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, and then after that, you got the 49ers, the Jaguars, and then you're on the road against the Texans. They're probably not going to win another game for the rest of this season. And it's unfortunate because, you know, we were talking about Jonathan Taylor for MVP at one point in time and Offensive Player of the Year, and they're not even running the ball well. So it just feels like all of the goodwill and all of the things that you could celebrate as a Colts fan is now gone.
Sorry to bring you down.
It goes beyond this year now, too. Like I said,
Next
all
couple
these
years.
offseason questions.
No
Would
pick.
you sign Daniel Jones to a contract in the offseason?
It's got to be team friendly.
It's got to be team. Is it a year?
2 years?
Because you're assuming, okay, 9 months is what they say, but it's not really 9 months. So it's like 10 or 11. So he's back in, what, October?
If you're lucky.
Then who's the starting quarterback for the Colts next year?
That's a big problem.
It's a huge
Kyler
issue. I don't know
Murray.
what the solve is. I think now all of a sudden you're stuck chasing the move that you already made. So are the Colts now going to look to trade pieces off? I think it's not out of the question. The Colts are trading away players for picks in the offseason, kind of like draft day when he's like, I want my picks back. Well, Chris Ballard's going to start calling GMs. I want my picks back. He might have to because now they have a quarterback who, let's be honest, Daniel Jones has done great this year. He's had concussions. He's had neck issues. He's had ACL. He's had Achilles. He's playing with his broken fibula. Like, he's had a lot of durability issues now. That was one of the things. Like, they brought him in on a 1-year prove it. He proved it sort of, but
no, he proved it. To me, he proved it enough to go and get himself, some money in the offseason. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Now I don't know.
Okay. Was that point number one for
That
3 and out?
It had to be.
I didn't know if he actually wanted to go there for 3 and out. I thought maybe that was just a postmortem vent session. So it actually ended up being point 1 for a guy, Anthony Dabbundo. Okay.
Yeah. Point 2. Are the 5 best teams in the NFL all in the NFC?
Let's think about this, gentlemen.
Because I think there's a clear top 3 right now, just based on how they.
Los Angeles Rams, number 1. We in agreement? Yay.
Green Bay would be right there with me.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
What? You're not going to have the Rams house?
No, it's either the Rams or Green Bay. I don't know.
Okay, but like top 5, we
Yeah.
would put the Rams absolutely check mark.
Oh yeah, check mark for sure.
Yeah,
I
I'm
would
sorry.
put
Rams.
Green Bay has won me over the last 2 weeks. I
Okay.
was skeptical midseason, but they have played their tails off these last couple of weeks.
We never stop believing.
That's fine.
Over here.
I bet them the last 2 weeks, so they were good to
There's
me.
only 2 teams in the NFL that have not had a truly like, what the hell is going on loss, like where they got completely outplayed, and really it was Green Bay and the Rams. Those are the only 2 teams we were like, wait, what's going on here?
What about Seattle? Because Seattle
Would you
hasn't
put
had-
Seattle in that group?
Week 1 was close, but if you watched the box score for that game was not like they got
Very
thoroughly
misleading.
outplayed in that game. Yeah.
Very misleading.
Purdy had a couple bad interceptions in untimely situations, but they I think Seattle had 150 yards. I know they could have won, but the Rams have not had a game this year where they've been like, whoa, they're getting just beat. And honestly, I feel the same way about Green Bay.
Okay, so Rams, Packers, no problem there. Would you put Seattle in that camp?
I would
Obviously.
put Seattle third.
I have a problem because of the quarterback.
Fair.
Fellas, am I okay putting Buffalo in the top 5? I think you have to because of the Josh Allen factor.
They're not in the top 5.
You would not put them in the top 5. See, I would just because of the quarterback and the quarterback.
I don't think they're better than New England, to be honest with you.
So because of that logic, then Raheem,
He likes New England this week.
you got to like New England this week against Buffalo.
I'm still thinking it over. I really am. I
Because
think
with that sort of bravado and confidence, I would assume that was a bet you're already making. You know what I'm saying?
I think the thing is, you got to remember, New England had offensive line injuries, so
Yeah.
it's just like there's a lot of other factors into it as well. It's just, I'm kind of agreeing with Anthony here. Like the 5 best teams might be in the NFC.
Okay, so who are the other teams? You're putting Philadelphia in that
You have to
group?
put Philly at 5th. Yeah. You have to put Detroit too, I think.
I would not put Detroit there.
No, in that case, then we have to kind of reassess.
I would not.
Well, you have to put. That means you have Detroit ahead of Houston.
I would not
certainly
have
don't.
Detroit ahead of Houston, and I would not have Detroit ahead of Buffalo.
Nor would I.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna read my model. This is my model's.
All right,
power
let's hear
ratings.
Raheem's model. Please share.
Top 5: Rams, Seahawks, Lions, Bills, Texans, Packers,
Bills in the
Eagles.
model. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Texans.
I'm gonna go top 10. Rams, Seahawks, Lions, Bills, Texans, Packers, Eagles, Chiefs, 49ers, Jaguars. That's just my model. I don't.
The model is the model.
Yeah.
you have been a skeptic on the Houston Texans. Big time on their offense.
Yeah.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
Are you starting to believe this is a team that can win multiple games in January?
Not because of their offense. No.
I mean, it doesn't have to be because
I hope they keep playing. I hope they keep winning every game so I can keep betting the under.
Texan under.
It's just I'm going to run out of bets once
a tradition unlike any other on the Ring of Sunday pregame.
I got nothing left to say. I've done my job for the year. We'll have to find out who the next team is. I mean, honestly, the Denver Broncos. I know they went over yesterday, but they're getting into that territory too. Every week, it's like a slog to get to 40. I think that the problem I have with Houston is that even Stroud, like he had some moments. But how many open guys did he miss yesterday? If you can get any kind of pressure on him, the offense just completely turns to dust. I mean, they didn't have a first down in the second half until the fourth down failure that the Chiefs had to put them in that position. So the problem is like the league is so wide open.
It's beyond wide open.
Houston played Denver tomorrow. In Denver, the line's what?
2.5.
Houston's plus 1.5, probably.
I was going to say 2.5.
You know,
and I'd be all over the Texans.
They play at New England. It's like 2.5 again. Like none of these spreads are going to be any big because the market doesn't really respect Denver or New England, and they're the top 2 seeds.
Before we get
they don't
to
respect Jacksonville either.
Before we get to point 3, I have to bring this up, fellas. The end of the Denver Raider game. Raheem, are we ready for the federal investigation that's going to happen at the end of that game with a delay of game penalty, knowing the game is over? And for what it's worth, I ended up betting the Raiders plus 7.5, and I threw that in our Wise Guys chat. I was euphoric that this was actually taking shape. Raheem, you're one of these guys that's always digging for a conspiracy theory. Were you all over it as soon as you saw that game unfold?
Oh, I mean, I saw it, but it was actually the right call.
No. The delay game was absolutely positively the right call. It's the idea that down 10 with 5 seconds left when the game is over. Carroll says, let's get out there, Carlson.
But you know what, though? I think Carroll said something interesting. He said he was playing for point differential. And I respect that.
Oh, please.
Playing for point. Look, I said this. This is the moment that Pete Carroll became Las Vegas' football coach.
Yes. Yes.
It's a great call.
He might not be the football coach for much longer, but that was the moment. He knew where he is the head coach. He knew that in every sports book in the city, the place was going crazy. He understood the assignment. The team is cooked. The team is cooked. The franchise is cooked. Austin Gale's texting me all sad. And he's like, wow, what a cover for the Raiders.
It was a cover. House, it was a glorious cover.
Not only was it a cover for the Raiders, it pushed the game over the total as well.
Yeah. Double whammy.
That was
baby.
The most improbable backdoor scam cover of the year. Way worse than the Rams. We've seen the Rams before. I have never seen a delayed game on the defense.
The Eagles blocking the field goal and returning it. That was the scam cover of the year. But honestly, if
you know what, House, I bellyache. Listen, I bellyached about that Eagle Ram game for about a week. You know what, House? After having the Raiders yesterday, I got to say I'm even. I'm even.
Fair
Sal and I
enough.
had Rams and Raiders in 107, so we split those two. Yeah.
The one to be upset about, honestly, was the Ravens. The Ravens got jobbed, and they got jobbed at home. I mean, the roughing call on whatever happened with the attempted, extra point where they called a roughing because somebody grazed the center, and that turned into an extra 4 points for Pittsburgh. They turned that into a touchdown, and then they overruled. I don't know. I mean, we're just going to go.
Likely play, it was outrageous.
The rest of our lives,
they overruled that.
We have one set of rules for possessing the ball as you cross the goal line, and a whole nother set of rules for completing a catch where it's 17 and a half steps. And he possessed the ball. He had it in his 2 hands for 2 steps, but that's not good enough. If you drop the ball as you cross the goal line, if for 1 millisecond, that's it. If the nose of the ball nudges the goal line on a run, that's a touchdown. But likely possessing the ball, you get a stopwatch and time how long he had the ball in his hands. There's no doubt about it. We're completing catches. Oh, okay. All right. That's fine. I didn't care, but
spirit of the game.
I love it. We got to get to best bets, and we got one more 3 and out from you. I mean, we could spend 10 hours on the end of that Raider Bronco game and the Isaiah Likely play for what it's worth. Final one.
There's been a lot of discussion about like how the Eagles offense has been bad the last 3 to 4 weeks. And that is true. It's been bad all year. This is not a new thing. This is not a development that's like gotten worse. They have had 13 games this year, the Eagles, 13 games. They've had 3 above average EPA per play. 3. The Cowboys in week 1.
The Ram game?
No, not even. They were they were negative in that game too. It was the Cowboys in week 1. It was the Vikings in Minnesota, and then it was the Giants
The
in
second game. Mm-hmm.
So they've had 3 above average in 12, not 13, 12 games this year. At some point, you are what you are, and what the metrics say you are. And I know that people have gone back and forth on Philly. We love their defense sometimes, then we don't love their defense. I think this is also a tricky matchup for them because there's 2 things. The Chargers take away explosives. They are vulnerable to consistent run games, but the Eagles don't have that. And they're vulnerable to quarterback runs. Jalen Hurts it's now been reported that he doesn't want to run as much. And that's a big part of their offense has been missing is the designed run from the QB. They haven't had it. They don't use it to the same extent. And it's just kind of broken this offense. So I'm on team Raheem with the Chargers.
Splitting the difference here.
We have him in the
Okay.
107, but I also like the under 2.
I had a feeling Dabbundo was going to come in on the Chargers.
Yeah,
and I get the concerns.
I do have a tendency to.
He's living in
bet against
Philly.
Eagles.
It's too much Philly special, too much IP, all of the negativity seeping in. But I think this Charger team a little beat up as well going into this matchup. And I think we're going to see that. Wow. I'm getting so emotional. I'm losing my voice talking about the struggles of the Eagle
Uncle
offense.
JJ.
Yes, Uncle JJ indeed. We have a new addition to the family we're very excited about. Thank you for sharing that. We got 2 minutes for best bets. Joe House, the floor is yours. It could be tonight. It could be for week 15. Take it away.
NBA.
Yeah, I've got 4 bets for you. 2 tonight. We've going with the Eagles -2.5, and we're going under 41.5. And then look ahead, 2 unders that you have to get on now before the numbers drop. The Chargers at Kansas City, that is 43.5. There are incredible numbers about when these 2 teams match up. The divisional splits are insane, and Kansas City is an under team. They've been under all season long. And then, of course, we got to get some Dabbundo action going here. Houston Texans hosting the Arizona Cardinals. The total's 42.5, under 42.5 for Cardinals Texans. Texans get 24 points, and Arizona gets 6, and that's it.
Dream, real quick. What do you got?
Let's go NBA Cup action tomorrow. New York Knicks on the money line. This was -2.5. I couldn't get to you guys in time to give you the 2.5. It's up to 4.5 now, but you can take them on the money line. Honestly, I think they cover the 4.5. So you want to lay the 4.5, that's good. The Raptors are really struggling right now. Also, Los Angeles Lakers on Wednesday.
I like the sound of that. I like the Knicks on the money line. You got like 5 seconds for a best bet.
Under 41.5 tonight.
Under for me. Give me the New Orleans Saints. Give me the Green Bay Packers. Rocking and rolling going into week 15. That's going to do it for the Ringer Gambling Show with the East Coast Bias Boys. Great to have Dabbundo in studio. For Joe House, Raheem Palmer, John Jastremski signing off. We're rocking and rolling all week on the FanDuel Sports Network. We out. Be good, everybody.
Must be 21 or older and present in select states, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. You must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York in New York.